Thank you.
Both me up there like Rippee. And then, all right, so what the
I'm actually getting pictures of her. She just got the promotion. Your promotion's like 3 months old.
Yeah, it's old news. They're done with it. They're done making that mistake. Yeah, nobody's making that mistake. So are we handheld making it first? We're gonna rip back. Yeah. So. Okay. If we can ask that you please be seated, we're about to start. Find your seats and hold on to your hats, friends.
Thanks. I can have Robert.
Yeah.
Sorry. Put yours on top there.
So welcome, everybody. Hello. Hello. Welcome to the first ever UNLV President's Innovation Challenge. We did it, Kate.
We did it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I'm UNLV Vice President of Economic Development, Bo Bernhard.
I'm Kate Corrigan, Vice Provost for Academic Affairs. Welcome.
And as you can tell by the way we talk, this is going to go fast. We're going to move through this whole night. There's a Golden Knights game later on tonight.
7 o'clock, we know.
We promise to get our celebrity judges out of here by then. But welcome. This is an idea hatched in the mind of our esteemed boss, Keith Whitfield. Wave to the crowd,
Give a wave, President Whitfield.
Keith Whitfield. And I got to tell you, no pressure, students, but he says this has been better than the ones he saw back in the day at Duke. You actually hesitate to utter that word in a UNLV. In the Thomas and Mack Center, I just uttered a bad word.
Hey, we're all R1 now.
Yes, that's right. We're all in the same spot. But what we did with these students was we gave them quite a challenge. And I got to tell you, this one was hard, Kate. I feel like this was harder than anything I've ever given my students before. Listen to this question challenge that they had to answer. Bum, bum, bum.
Here we go.
COVID-19 changed the world, and in Las Vegas it achieved the unimaginable. It closed the Strip. We remember that visceral moment, right? If you're like me, you probably drove down the Strip to feel what it was like when the whole place closed down. It felt like a zombie movie. However, Las Vegas did not shy away from this challenge. We realized that we needed more resilience, more economic diversity, and more ingenuity. It was a matter of survival. For UNLV's first ever President's Challenge, the task is this: invent a creative solution to Las Vegas's economic diversity challenge. How do we make Las Vegas more resilient, more diversified, and more sustainable for all Las Vegans? So nothing too difficult. Just solve a problem that has baffled Las Vegans for more than 50 years as we've tried to join the ranks of cities with broader, more robust economies.
And do it in 6 months.
And do it really quickly, yes, yes. And we're going to put you together with a team that you haven't met before.
That's right.
And do so in a way that creates all sorts of cognitive diversity within the team. That's one of the things I'm really impressed with this group.
Yeah, we started in the fall semester, about mid-fall, and we put the call out, and we said, we're doing this crazy thing. Who wants to be part of it? And we had about 75 students raise their hand and say, I want in. So we started last fall with 16 teams. Now, what you need to know about our teams is they're just not normal teams, right? We couldn't do anything just plain. We wanted to do it in a really special way. So what we said, just to up the ante a bit, is that every team has to have at least one undergraduate student and one graduate student. So we get both at, the near-peer mentorship, right, of having students at different levels working on different types of degrees. And then we also said that it needs to be cross-disciplinary. So, in higher ed, we can sometimes get stuck in our academic silos where we spend a lot of time talking to people who think like us and ask similar questions and come up with similar answers. And so for a project like this, that wasn't going to work, right? So what we did is we said the teams have to have at least 3 different disciplines represented. So we have cross-disciplinary ideas, students at different levels, and we had 16 teams come together in the fall semester to compete in the first round of the competition back in December.
And speaking of diverse and multidisciplinary, let me introduce you to our celebrity judges. Why don't we put their names up here? Look at this list. So please join me in thanking, these are folks who have poured through all of your submissions, students. Jan Jones Blackhurst, mayor of the 90s in Las Vegas. Jan, wave to the crowd. She is seated next to Jason Gastworth, who invented the residency in Las Vegas of Caesars Entertainment. Seated next to Jason is Peter Guzman, who's CEO, of course, of the Latin Chamber of Commerce. Back behind Jen is Nadia Hansen, who we came to know when she was CIO of Clark County, now with Salesforce. Wave to the crowd. Hello, Nadia. Our fearless COO and Executive Vice President Provost Chris Heavey is here. Yang Lee, who is the Lee Professor of Entrepreneurship and the Research Director at the Trosch Center for Entrepreneurship is here. And then we have our attorney, John Krieger from Dickinson Wright, who's done so much to help so many of our intellectual property friends. We have Shant Sarkisian, who is the CEO of XCO, our accelerator. Wave to the crowd. We have Nicole Thomas. We have the president of the Graduate Student Association here. And we have Rama Venkat. No more introduction. The Dean of Engineering, about to double our engineering program in size, literally, by building a brand new building with those bare hands that he's showcasing right there with a thumbs up. That's right. And we also have Frank Woodbeck, who's our dear, dear friend from CSN, who leads grants and special projects. And finally, last but not least, Karen Yap. We have the student body president here, as well as one of the celebrity judges. So what a diverse mix. What a team.
It's an amazing group of judges. Thank you so much for being here. And we want to also give shout outs to, of course, President Whitfield. Without his challenge that started last summer, this never would have been possible. So thank you so much for your innovative leadership and for making this a reality.
And thank you to the Governor's Office of Economic Development, one of the co-sponsors, and of course, massively invested in the diversification of this economy, which is the whole point today.
Yes, thank you.
So
Go Ed.
Thank you, Go Ed.
And then, of course, we want to thank the judges, and we also want to thank our mentors. So every team had a mentor, sometimes 2 mentors. Our mentors are faculty and staff from campus. They're community members who raised their hand and said, I'm in, I want to help. So mentors in the room, would you please stand up so that we could give you a round of applause? You've earned it. Thank you so much. And of course, the Honors Jazz Trio, who you heard playing, and they'll be back as we're scoring after the competition. So thank you so much to our amazing musicians who are here with us tonight. All right, so how does this work? What's about to happen? Let us walk you through it. So from 16 teams that we had at the December competition, we whittled it down to the 9 finalist teams, and they have been working nonstop from late December until today to be here. What has happened is those teams did a binder. They did a whole presentation with all the details behind their innovative idea. And those details were submitted early Saturday morning after lots of long hours on Friday night, I hear. And that was sent to the judges for their review in the last few days. The reason we did that is the teams only have 7 minutes here today. So there's no way that they could go into the depth and breadth of their full presentation. Also, many of our teams have intellectual property in their proposals that they couldn't share widely and broadly in a whole room, although we trust you all, don't worry. But the judges were able to see all of that. So the judging actually began before now, and what you'll see are these presentations coming up. After each presentation, we're going to spend 4 minutes, not 3 and not 5, on Q&A from the judges for each team, and that'll give the judges a moment to do their scoring. At the end, we'll tally, and we'll come back and announce the winners, and as you can see, we have a check, a very special check, that will be a startup package for our first place winners in the amount of $25,000. So we're excited to get to that point in the event. And just briefly, the judges are scoring our teams on their problem statement. How much are they addressing the question that you just heard from Bo? What's their innovation? Does it address the question? Do they have a proof of concept that they can share or describe at this point? Is it scalable? Do they have an idea that can get bigger and go to market? And how do they do on their pitch presentation? So they'll be up here pitching in this Shark Tank-like style event with our judges scoring from the front rows.
Very good. And I think now we get to introduce MC Rippee.
MC Rippee.
Please join me in welcoming Dr. Robert Rippee, ex-Navy fighter pilot, ex-Chief Innovation Officer, current UNLV professor and Executive Director of Blackfire. Let's turn it over to you, sir.
Thank you.
Take it away, Dr. Rippee.
There's that.
Thank you so much, and welcome everybody, and hello to the 9 teams for about the 15th time. I'm very delighted to kind of keeping us on track tonight. So 7 minutes, 4 minutes of questions. I will be timing it, so that's probably time for 1 long question or 2 to 3 short questions. And we'll have microphones that we'll share. So with that, team number 4, Aero AI, you're on stage. So Team Aero AI are piloting the next generation of 3D libraries with drones.
One of the most transformational initiatives of the last century was Andrew Carnegie's funding of over 1,700 libraries across the country. What could be more appropriate than an institution recently elevated to Carnegie R1 status, supporting the next generation of libraries, a new digital library?
Hello and welcome from Aero AI. We are introducing a digital library driven by drone mapping technology for the 21st century. The President's Innovation Challenge has already inspired us to establish a limited liability company. We have also developed a minimum viable product, the Nevada Virtual 3D Library MVP, and we're really excited to share our website with you today.
So before I jump into the problem, for those that aren't aware of the capabilities of drones, we can use it to collect 3-dimensional data. And it's already being used for a variety of reasons, from architecture, engineering, construction, preservation, research. The list is growing. We're literally translating our world into 3D data, and that's amazing. But the problem is that there's no, I guess, guidance or equitable source of collecting, storing, and sharing this data, and even the knowledge that comes with it. So while we continue this ad hoc approach, this proprietorship of information, we're dividing our digital growth and slowing our progress in creating a sustainable economy.
To solve this problem, Aero AI is combining the scanning capabilities of drones with decentralized cloud technology to literally bring the world to your hands. We're taking scans of our rural and urban environment and putting it in the library and making that information accessible to all. You can do whatever you want with it. To achieve these goals, we're taking a 3-step process, which first includes a systematized protocols for drone pilots to collect data effectively and lawfully. We're also developing a library, which is part of our MVP, to upload and download this data. And this library will be available on the web, making that data equitable for access so you can access our secure and immersive library, which we're going to share with you shortly.
So according to the Business Insider, the drone service market is estimated to rise up to about 63.6 billion. That is huge, right? But we believe it could be bigger. And we all have the opportunity to make this happen. With the current rise in the drone industry and the anticipated growth, and with few companies hoarding this data, what we seek to do is to provide a positive disruption to this by democratizing our data. And then we believe this will usher us into a future of unforeseen economic activities.
Fly with us through the Nevada Virtual 3D Library MVP, deployed on our website at aeroai.io. It features an interactive user interface that users can use to navigate scanned areas of the world. And once you find what you're looking for, you could literally just download the data, either 2D, 3D, or embedded data as well. Included in our MVP is a scan of the 99-acre Black Harry Reid Research and Technology Park, which is stored on a decentralized cloud network, making it really safe. Currently, stakeholders such as architects and engineers who work on this park could use this data for so many things, from site monitoring to estimation. Even game developers can use this data. You could even send it to a 3D printer, like we just did over there, for a 3D printed model.
We knew we had an advantage when we were discussing the unique potentials of a drone workforce. Our advantage literally scales our target market to a size large enough for a library to benefit a whole economy. And we're going to go through some applications now.
It started with knowing, first and foremost, that architects, engineers, and contractors could use the data of this library to help them quickly envision the built environments that are in the future. But then it could easily be handed off, the information, to other workforces, a new workforce in different economies across multiple industries around the state.
Geologists, hydrologists, and biologists can utilize this data to examine landscape, to determine the flow pattern of water, to determine land use, land cover changes, and even in water quality monitoring, not to talk about remote sensing applications capabilities.
The movie industry can use this for storyboarding and for set design and more.
Marketers could use it for planning ad campaigns, developing virtual branding, or even promoting areas across the state.
The hospitality and entertainment industry could use that information to develop video games or to even approach future-focused facility management of mega resorts.
The growing drone industry can use this to preserve heritage sites. It can also use this data to plan and design future aerial transportation, such as drone delivery services.
The library could really support economies that we have a hard time even imagining at this point, in the same way libraries of the last century ushered in completely new industries.
Comparing us to satellite images, we seek to provide equitable access to the upload, download of 3D geographic data. We also provide data which is of high resolution and accuracy and at cheaper cost. Imagine the cost of flying a drone as compared to launching satellite to collect data. We also seek to provide a highly secure data with higher privacy secured and through a decentralized cloud storage platforms.
In addition to drone scanning as a service, we're using a freemium model to allow essential, premium, and business users access to our library.
$20,000 would support Aero AI's development of the Nevada Virtual Library in key ways. Number one, we would develop our drone fleet, expand it, train additional drone pilots. Two, marketing and the building of partnerships with stakeholders across the state in industries that we know would be anxious to use all of the information we're collecting. And number three, software acquisition to help us process the immense amount of data we'd be collecting. Following in the footsteps of Andrew Carnegie and in the airspace above the numerous libraries that have been with us over the last century. We're very anxious to have all of your support in the development of Aero AI and the Nevada Virtual Library. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think President Whitfield was just designing our 2,000-acre campus out in North Las Vegas with your new technology. Questions from our esteemed judges?
You mentioned legally collecting the data. So FAA doesn't allow civilian use of drones to collect data, right? There are privacy issues and other things. Is that being addressed at all?
Yes, I'm actually a licensed drone pilot, and I've been collecting data in Las Vegas for the past 2 years. So with authorization, this is why protocols are so important for us. With the right authorizations, which we plan to train our drone pilots, you can actually get airspace authorization from controlled airspace. Like you could see the UNLV campus is actually a controlled airspace, and we are able to get authorizations to do that, and we want to put that process as part of our protocol so we can have certified drone pilots and guys that can actually go out there and lawfully and ethically collect this data.
Mm-hmm. It's a pretty competitive market in the mapping space. You have the satellite companies, you have the helicopter flyovers that feed into Google Maps and all these things. I guess, how would you guys be able to distinguish yourself and get enough capital to compete with the big boys? And a two-part question. And the second one is, how would you address privacy issues? Google's had those challenges, driving cars down the street, blurring people out, unfortunately catching people in compromising positions. Have you guys thought about the privacy engine and automating that or something along those lines?
So to answer the first part of that question, how we differentiate ourselves is that we're not proprietizing our information, our data. So all that mapping that our competitors do, we're releasing it through our library so that others can pretty much profit off of it.
Download it in multiple forms that are appropriate to their particular business model. It also makes sense to start a library in the same way you would frequent your local library to build connections with the end users. Recognize that the data is of value to local architecture, engineering, and construction firms. Recognize that it would be of interest to local hospitality and other industries, and make those partnerships and see how they want to use that data and make sure that we're collecting it with the end user in mind.
And just to quickly speak on the privacy, I'm glad you asked that question because it's important. That is the reason why we're using a decentralized cloud platform. We are not trying to trust our data to just one entity that can be hacked. By using a decentralized cloud storage, this means that this data gets splitted and put across nodes all around the world, which makes it almost virtually unhackable. So we are taking data security very, very seriously, and privacy as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I need Team 11, Gallus Ovum. So Gallus Ovum is progression with compassion.
Hello, everyone. We're Gallus Ovum. We'll be presenting our invasion challenge, Las Vegas coin.
Decades of cyclical and black swan recession events have demonstrated the vulnerability of the hospitality industry to economic shocks of all kinds. Our solution, Las Vegas Coin, provides a gateway into the next generation of fintech and the next generation of internet technology, generating revenue streams by connecting content leaders of industry in the Web3 space to come.
That's our solution. Thank you. Okay.
Our product Las Vegas Coin provides an avenue for growing Vegas's presence in Web 3.0, establishing a strong Vegas brand in the crypto space. Similar to a credit card, every cryptocurrency transaction has a transaction fee. As a city coin, Las Vegas Coin's transaction fees are 30% of the mining yields, which are automatically given back to the city through a city wallet. As such, transactions of Las Vegas Coin creates tax-free revenue for the city of Vegas that can be utilized for economic innovation. With strong, consistent marketing and development, the strength of Las Vegas Coin's earning capability and potential utility can build a bridge for Vegas to cross into the Web 3.0 space.
All right, addressing our market size, there are over 1.35 million blockchain transactions that happens daily. Up to 89% of American adults have heard of Bitcoin. Our total addressable market is estimated at $2.16 trillion, serviceable market is $980 billion, and serviceable obtainable market is 13.9 to 18.5 million. There are over 300 million crypto users worldwide, and over 18,000 businesses have already begun accepting crypto as a form of payment. So Miami Coin can serve as our proof of concept. It was the first city coin to market and displayed huge opportunities and advantages. The amount of revenue accumulated in just a 3-month period was $21 million, which equals to 80% of their quarterly annual tax revenue. It also received massive media attention, constantly being on the topic of news and thousands of articles such as Forbes. Miami is even holding the world's biggest Bitcoin conference, taking place right now as we speak. Bitcoin also has a huge advantage in security as it's built on secure cryptography. Some challenges to address would be the fluctuation of value and lack of utility of the coin. We plan to tackle these problems by focusing on the marketing and allocation of the revenue.
In our project management plan, we allocated $1.25 million towards getting Las Vegas Coin to launch. In order for Las Vegas Coin to go live as a city coin, we first need the crypto community to vote on Las Vegas Coin as the next city coin, after which Clark County Commissioner Jim Gibson claims a city wallet, and after that, we launched a software program for a smart contract. After which, 20 individuals can interact with Las Vegas Coin and make it go live. By Q1 of 2024, we will use 25% of the revenue from the city wallet towards maintaining civic engagement, expanding Las Vegas Coin's utility.
Here's our product roadmap. We plan to spend 2022 exploring different ways we can code Las Vegas Coin to give it usefulness and utility. In 2023, we hope to debug any issues and implement user feedback. This is a quick overview of our go-to-market plan. We have it in extensive detail of Appendix G of our full submission, but these are the 3 main goals. 1, to generate exposure through targeted social media and ad campaigns. 2, to emphasize and hone Las Vegas Coin's strengths, which are its potential to be used in a variety of profitable ways, its security, and its strong community. And 3, to create an intuitive and sophisticated user interface that allows for beginners to easily participate in the mining process. This is a quick overview of how we expect Las Vegas Coin to scale into vertical markets and horizontal idea enhancements. In 2024, our main goal will be to generate exposure of Las Vegas Coin and to create novelty NFTs. In 2025, we plan on exploring the possibility of NFT tickets. NFT tickets are digital assets that hold an attendee's credentials and possibly unique perks for the event. They can benefit both the artists and concertgoers by making it almost impossible for scalpers. In 2026, we will begin exploring different avenues for casinos to implement Las Vegas Coin. This can look like Las Vegas Coin ATMs or something similar to NFT tickets, but for casino entertainment.
Many other cities want in on the crypto craze, and some have already gotten through, like Miami and New York. Miami has a welcoming regulatory environment, which is why the blockchain headquarters moved from New York City to Miami. In Austin, Councilmember Kelly says Austin is considering crypto, but she says the federal and state laws places the idea in gray area. In New York City, Mayor-elect Eric Adams vowed to spend his first 3 paychecks on Bitcoin and advocated for crypto education. In Philadelphia, Mayor Jim Kenney gave the okay for Citicoin's partnership. However, they are still in the early stages of crypto development and are determining whether they can benefit. In terms of Vegas, an example of crypto progress, Resort World's Las Vegas partners with Gemini Wallet to explore opportunities to integrate crypto into the resort experience. And Derek Stevens, a downtown casino owner, was surprised to see more deposits than withdrawals from crypto exchange kiosks, which means Vegas citizens have begun their trust in crypto. Besides Philadelphia, the other cities are ahead of Vegas in terms of crypto progress.
One lucky thing that sets Las Vegas coin apart from other city coins is its amazing and iconic location. This is an ideal place for a city coin. Las Vegas has proactive and accessible government officials and a community really eager to embrace technological innovation. It's an attractive place for people to live and to start a business. We can expect Miami Coin success for Las Vegas coin, but on an even greater scale. Oh, and lastly, it was a very big priority to us that growth in Las Vegas coin would also create growth and prosperity in the Las Vegas community, because it's the community that my teammates and I grew up in. We're extremely eager to take this project to the next step. Thank you guys so much for your time, and we'll now open the floor up for questions.
I have 3 questions. The first, regulatory oversight of the gaming industry is probably the highest of any other industry.
Yeah.
And right now, the regulators would never allow crypto coin of any kind because they're not sure how they would handle questions of money laundering and other issues. So how do you intend to convince a regulator and a bank, because you have to have FDIC banking?
Yeah, luckily that there are thousands of cryptocurrencies available right now, and the broad majority of them are considered virtual currencies and not securities. Furthermore, we are interested in the gaming sector, but we really think that this is about an innovation of the brand of Las Vegas beyond gaming into a new digital space.
What if people with Vegas coin redeemed their Vegas coin for dollars and lost more money?
Well, we don't want them to do that, but we do want them to have the opportunity to spend that redeemed money here in Las Vegas. Next question.
Other questions?
Did you research on demographic, like which group do you think tends to believe in this more than others at the moment?
Yeah, so our buyer persona are investors aged 20 to 35, mostly male. They tend to be in technological fields of work, so software engineering, that field. They comprise 65% of our buyer persona currently.
Would this be an ERC20 Ethereum-based coin, I assume?
Actually, no. It's a sidechain off of the Bitcoin blockchain. So it allows for the stability of Bitcoin as the foundation versus some of the ERC20 issues.
Yeah, but it's the mining power is required is pretty strong, and it's costly. But
in this case, the mining is not your traditional mining. This is more of a proof of stake type coin, where it's like a lot of different miners, quote unquote, but not the traditional mining space that would cost you the GPU space and the additional electricity that is traditionally associated with Bitcoin. So as a side chain, as a smart chain, it kind of functions off of the power of Bitcoin, but yet not as energy intensive by any means.
And with that, thank you. You're off the hot seat.
Thanks.
Please join me in congratulating our
Thank you.
You did great. You can get those. All right, next, team number 5, Southern Nevada Health Initiative, world-class city, world-class health.
Mark has had problems with his right knee for quite some time. After seeing a physician in his hometown in Wisconsin, he finds out he needs a total knee replacement. He begins researching different orthopedic surgeons covered by his private medical insurance, when he realizes he can have his procedure done in Nevada for a price less than what would cost in Wisconsin. He and his wife have always wanted to travel to Las Vegas, and they figured that this is a great opportunity to recover in a resort rather than in their hometown in Wisconsin. And to help Mark plan his trip, we present the Southern Nevada Health Initiative.
This is our team. My name is Louisa Heskey, and I am from the dental school.
I'm Mary McDonough from the School of Medicine.
I'm Peter Gremma from the Department of Economics.
And I'm Ryder Hinkins from the International Business and Marketing Department. Rounding us out is Dean Shoemaker from the Hospitality College.
As we all witnessed, COVID-19 shook our city and shut down the Strip. For the first time ever, we saw Las Vegas tourism come to a complete and utter stop. We also saw how much our city relies on traditional tourism and how vulnerable this can be in global economic fluctuations. So we saw a need to create greater diversity in the Las Vegas economy. During the time of us researching for our project, we found out there have been quite a few initiatives to combat this problem. However, there has yet to be a centralized effort to integrate the medical community into our economy.
This creates a unique opportunity to diversify the tourism economy here in Las Vegas by connecting medicine to hospitality and hospitality to medicine, or in other words, medical tourism. Las Vegas has already seen tremendous growth in the medical sector with the creation of the UNLV Med School and the expansion of employment opportunities in the medical industry. Our plan is to capitalize on this growth and expand the market by creating the Southern Nevada Health Initiative, focused on creating connections in the ecosystem of hospitality and medicine, increasing revenues, and becoming more independent from global and economic fluctuations. Our idea has a three-phase plan. In its first phase, we'll partner with UNLV Health, the clinical arm of the med school, to integrate medicine into current Las Vegas events. This phase is all about getting our name out there, both in the Valley and with frequent Las Vegas tourists. This is also the phase where we will brand Las Vegas as a premier medical destination. But the real work begins in phase 2. Here, we will create a medical tourism travel agency to partner with medical facilities ready and able to handle medical tourism directly with hospitality establishments. In the second phase, or in the, yes, this is the phase where Mark will be able to undergo his surgery while also being able to experience all that Sin City has to offer. Once this phase is up and running, phase 3 will begin. Here, we will focus on introducing medical tourism to the rest of the medical community here, so that Las Vegas is truly the premier medical destination. With the completion of this third phase, doctors and medical specialists from across the country will see the potential that Las Vegas has to offer, relocate here, and practice in our great state. And with the completion of these 3 phases, Las Vegas will be able to offer not only world-class hospitality, but world-class medicine in any field.
So to pilot our idea, we would begin with a partnership between UNLV Health and the Consumer Electronics Show in January of 2023. So an urgent care would be set up in a meeting room of the conference center. So conference attendees with minor illnesses and injuries can come and seek treatment without ever leaving the convention. This urgent care would have the same hospitality focus as many resorts in town, as patients would be able to schedule appointments through an app, have constant contact with their provider, and have a physical space centered on wellness and recovery. After their visit, patients would be sent an anonymous survey where we would collect demographic data, information on their level of satisfaction with care, and the likelihood that they would use similar services in the future. At the end of this project, we would collect all of this data and implement it in a strategic plan that could then be carried out to other Las Vegas events.
According to a report from Brookings Mountain West and the Lindsay Institute, for every $1 million spent in direct medical spending here in Southern Nevada, an additional $840,000 in revenue will be generated. So this is our multiplier effect. That $840,000, if we contextualize it to Mark's case, if his medical procedure costs $10,000, that $10,000 is going to create an additional $8,400 that will be spent in other sectors of our economy, ranging from restaurants all the way down to construction. If we take a closer look at our economic impact on the hospitality side, what we want to do is similar to what sports tourism is doing, and we're providing different ways for resorts and hotels here to fill their rooms. This will generate the ability to bring in additional tourists, and it'll feed into other aspects of the development. We also want to stabilize against economic downturns. When there's a recession, there's less disposable income, and tourists and medical patients are more willing to explore and to find more affordable options for them to get their procedure taken care of. Lastly, we're providing different ways for the hospitality industry to cater to medical tourists. We anticipate shops, restaurants, and different experiences opening up for this segment. Over on the medical side of it, we want to anchor Southern Nevada medicine to our region's economic engine. We believe that growth in one area will feed into the other, and we'll bring it all together. We also want to create jobs in Las Vegas medicine. As this ecosystem continues to grow, there'll be induced demand for medical billing, for medical equipment. We hope to work with partners at UNLV Hospitality and the College of Southern Nevada to create programs here where we're able to train workers in this nexus between the two industries. And lastly, we hope to attract new innovations here to bring in startup, which will explore and have a really unique market here in Las Vegas to provide medical innovations within tourism.
We are very excited to be a part of growing and expanding the economy within Las Vegas, and we are also very excited to give the opportunity to patients like Mark to experience the world-class medicine in our world-class city here. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you. I enjoyed your presentation. In terms of branding, medical tourism is all about cost and safety. So you're not really just competing nationally, you're competing internationally on a global scale. So South Asian countries or Mexico or South America, people go to those places just to save on costs. So how would you brand yourself and brand Las Vegas really as the destination for medical tourism?
Yes, your concern is completely right. Our biggest competitors would be Seoul and Bangkok, Thailand, and they already have huge medical tourism industries. What our strength here is that not only do we offer world-class medicine, Las Vegas is world-renowned for our hospitality, our events, the things that we offer. So for that consumer demographic, it wouldn't be cost, it would be more so the experience, which we have to strengthen.
To add on to that, for marketing, we would plan to work with the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority to bring us. They branded what happens here stays here, so why not come here for your medical procedures as well?
Thank you all for that presentation. So as you know, the pandemic has obviously exposed that we have some infrastructure issues within our healthcare system. We have one of the lowest rates of residencies available for people. How will you deal with the shortage of doctors that are readily unavailable for our institutions here?
So you are very correct. We are kind of on the bottom in terms of providers nationally, which is unfortunate. So that's sort of the idea with the three-phased approach. So starting kind of not necessarily small, but very feasible to what we're able to handle now in Southern Nevada. So things that our existing medical providers can do with existing tourism events, with the hope that 5, 10, 15 years in the future, with the medical school, with other medical schools in the state, we can expand the number of providers and kind of keep scaling up to offer different services.
You're welcome.
Seeing no more questions, I believe you're off the hot seat. Congratulations, nice work.
Congratulations.
Right on the button again, thanks. Next, Team 7, the Rebelutionaries. Cultivating an informed and inclusive future.
Hi, I'm Malika Bella.
I'm Angie.
I'm Justina.
I'm Kobe.
And we're the Rebelutionaries. We're a team of non-traditional first-generation students who understand the barriers imposed on those with intersectional identities. Our mission is to cultivate an informed and inclusive future, and we'll be doing that by diversifying the technology industry via employment and education opportunities, specifically for marginalized students in Title I high schools. So here's the problem. 35% of entry-level positions posted on LinkedIn require years of relevant work experience. And when looking at the IT services industry specifically, this number jumps to 60%. This is where the Rebelutionaries come in. We're proposing a technology certification program for workforce development. Essentially, all students involved in our program will have access to interpersonal and professional development skills training, access to content-specific certification workshops, and also have the opportunity to network and intern at local community tech organizations. And when looking at how our initiative impacts the economic diversity within the Las Vegas community, it actually empowers our already existing industries, hospitality, tourism, and gaming, for example, via hospitality robots, esports gaming, e-commerce, and more.
So simply put, this issue is urgent because technology affects every single other industry in Nevada. So if education in this field isn't sufficient, then the success of most, if not all, other industries will be negatively impacted. So Southern Nevada is home to the Switch Communications Data Facility, and that makes us a hot spot for tech innovation. So investing in this now is going to pay off in the future, and this is a hot spot for tech innovation. So I apologize. Yes, yes. So, oh my gosh, sorry, okay. So now let's get into the market for our program. So the digital technology industry is currently worth around $470 billion. That is projected to grow to around $1 trillion by 2025. Investing in this industry now will pay off in the future. No, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you all for being patient with me. I'm nervous. Oh my gosh, okay. So improving diversity in the tech industry will not only create amazing social change, but it's also going to create economic growth. So identities that are currently left behind in the tech industry include women, those of ethnic and linguistic minorities, and those who are living in low-income areas. We're going to target these areas by focusing on Title I high schools in Nevada. So CCSD is one of the largest school districts in the nation. We have 23 Title I high schools, and that amounts to around 48,000 students that our program is going to be targeting. Even if only 10% of these students enroll in our program, that's going to be a very large impact we will be creating. So our competition is generally inaccessible because it focuses on the middle to upper class. It is expensive and it's time-consuming. What makes us different is that we are completely free. We focus on low-income high school students, and we're going to give them the opportunity to network with actual local tech employers. They're going to develop their social and professional skills. So some obstacles we may encounter include parental consent, CCSD approval, accreditation, as well as copyright issues. Now I'll hand it off to Sina.
There are many certifications out there waiting for our students. The most in-demand certifications right now are from companies like Cisco and their certified network professionals. Certifications, we have Amazon Cloud, Microsoft Azure, CompTIA's A+, Cloud+, and Security Plus certifications, as well as Oracle's MySQL certifications. Now, how can we help our students obtain these certifications? That's where our program comes in. So the first step in developing our program is to meet with local companies as well as students and to identify their current and future needs. By doing this, we can ensure we create a program that's beneficial to all parties, especially the people who are going to be taking advantage of this. Now, throughout creating our program, we want to ensure that we have open channels of communication. By this way, everybody can see that their needs are being met and how they're going to benefit from our program. And upon final approval by all of our partnering companies, we can then move to launch. So to better understand our idea, here we have Camila. Camila is a first-generation student in her senior year of high school. She has very limited tech experience, but has built up a lot of interest in certifications thanks to all the buzz on social media. But where does she start? Thanks to the Rebelutionaries who held an info session at her high school, she knows that the first thing she needs to do is to register for our program online. After registering, she can then view and see how we can help her get these certifications and how she's going to benefit from this. The next step is to attend our course. Over the next 25 weeks, Camila, along with all the other students in our program, will slowly develop the skills and knowledge they would need to pass an accredited certification exam. Aside from being able to pass an accredited certification exam, they'll also build up additional skills that would help them and further them in their careers. Upon successfully completing our program and obtaining a certification, they are then ready to move on to our professional development program, where they'll prepare for their internships with our partnering companies and will also prepare for their careers in the real world. Now, our goal here is to not only to supply our partnering companies with the kind of employees that they're looking for, but it's to also have our students and students like Camila leave having obtained their goals, whether it's to obtain a certification, to network with professionals, or to gain additional skills that would help them and further them along in their careers. And now I'll hand it off to Kobe.
In order to take this program to market, we will need to have key partnerships in place in order to make that happen. Local corporate sponsors such as Switch and Zappos could help fund our program, as they would see a return on investment in the form of better qualified employees. The state government could be interested, as it boosts a growing tech industry along with helping local marginalized communities. And lastly, our program could be helped by philanthropic activities such as wealthy individuals donating money and professors donating their time. But this also includes companies donating their resources, such as Cox with internet access, Dell with computers, and Canvas with their learning management system. Our program helps to diversify the Southern Nevada economy by stimulating job growth in the local tech industry. This job growth would directly impact our most marginalized communities and would therefore create a more inclusive workforce with different ethnic, cultural, and socioeconomic backgrounds. Our program will help stimulate career mobility and earning potential by providing students with education and qualifications they otherwise may not be able to receive. Once our program is established and we have delivered proven results, major national companies may begin to take notice and want to help push our program to the next level. Partnering with these major companies could greatly widen the scope of our program to help students all across the country.
Our team is ready, willing, and able to take this to the next step. But the question is, are you ready to join the revolution? Thank you.
Questions?
We'll actually be passing off to our judges right now a mock brochure that we would be handing out to students. So.
Perfect. Thank you for your presentation. Something that you mentioned is that what makes you different from your competitors is your accessibility to students. So my question is, how would this program be implemented into a high school setting? Would it be built into the curriculum? Would this be something that's after school? And how will you make sure that that continues to be accessible for students? Thank you.
Oh, that's a very good question. So this is where schools and partnering and having an open channel of communication comes into play, because if schools want to implement this in the course, that's definitely possible. As part of the regulations that we mentioned, we would obviously need to discuss it a bit and make sure that we follow CCSD school regulations, because we will be outside people coming in and working with minors. So that is also a possibility, and having an after-school program also works, because we know a lot of students sometimes may struggle balancing both of them. Our idea here focused more on having an after-school program for students where they can slowly take their time to develop these skills.
Question here.
So do you envision this as a for-profit business or a nonprofit?
Mic was off, sorry. So we actually envision this being a nonprofit working directly with CCSD, and this is scalable. So for sure, we do want to start with Title I schools since they are underserved, marginalized populations, and then we can expand throughout the rest of CCSD. So.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a lack of engineering talent is a huge problem globally, right? Not just here in Nevada, everywhere. And hopefully you guys aren't taking any future students away from President Whitfield by plucking them out of high school. The question I had is for companies, speaking from a company's perspective, they don't a lot of times care where you went to school. They just want somebody that's great and can do the job, and they have usually very specific needs. Have you guys thought about, as opposed to, just giving people these course credentials, going to the companies and saying, what are you specifically looking for, and almost having them supply the curriculum and the ask, and then be able to have the students flow that way?
Yes, so that was our original plan there, and that's where partnering with local communities come in, and that's how we want to specialize and differentiate our program from other programs out there. We want to work with local Nevadan businesses and companies operating in Nevada and satisfy their needs. We don't want this program to be something that you can get just anywhere. We want this to satisfy and benefit our companies here and be able to stimulate the job growth here and to keep jobs in Nevada with our Nevadans.
Yeah, I'd like to join the revolution. I think you guys could do some good.
Thank you.
Please join me in congratulating the Rebelutionaries.
Who has the remote control? Nicely done.
Thank you.
Nicely done. Next, Team 1. A more sustainable world for strength, flexibility, and a healthier planet.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here. We are 3 siblings, and we're studying economics and MBA to run a business. And even though there's 3 of us, we work together as one, as a single unit.
We want to provide biopolymer solutions and innovations for strength, flexibility, and a healthier planet. Our team has 4 strengths. First, we have different backgrounds and cultures, and we are minority owned. Second, we have partnerships that bring technologies to Nevada which aren't found here. Third, we have over 20 patents for our resins. And finally, we want to produce 30,000 tons annually, and we want to establish a manufacturing facility here. For this, we ask for UNLV support in securing our first contract in the Las Vegas Strip. We also ask to collaborate with UNLV and Blackfire Innovation to connect with local manufacturers and set up our first production line. Our headquarters and facility will be located in Southern Nevada to diversify its economy. Southern Nevada's reliance on tourism makes it susceptible to climate risk posed by plastic waste. The COVID-19 pandemic increased the use of single-use plastics, and it severely impacted Nevada's economy. Our solution is to create biodegradable and compostable resins and alternatives to single-use plastic products. We offer excellent products that will help reduce our negative impact on the environment. For example, we will produce biodegradable bags, utensils, containers, and more. Our solution will achieve economic diversity by diversifying local production and creating new jobs. By being a unicorn in biotech in Las Vegas, we will make this region more attractive for new companies. And finally, by creating new revenue streams. These revenue streams will make Southern Nevada more sustainable, reliant, and economically diversified.
Our solution has 3 value propositions. Economically, it'll create new revenue streams and new jobs. Environmentally, it'll decrease the carbon footprint that Southern Nevada leaves. And socially, it'll increase the population's life expectancy. Plastic pollution is a very urgent problem that it must be solved soon. There are 380 million tons of plastic created annually, but only 8% of this is actually recycled. On top of that, the COVID-19 pandemic made the use of single-use plastics increase by about 3 times as much. This means that our project is very timely in Southern Nevada, where the hospitality industry is phasing out from using the single-use plastics and looking for alternatives. The sustainability initiatives and economic incentives will drive our demand. For example, Caesars Entertainment used 200 million straws in the last year, and MGM used 90 million straws in the last year as well. This amounts for about 145 million grams of CO2 that they are producing. As far as the market goes, North America has the highest demand, while Asia has the highest supply. This means that we need global partnerships to combat this issue together. As for our brand partners, Uni, they've been very successful. Uni made $7 million in revenue by selling bags in 2019 through Amazon, and Repurpose made $25 million in revenue by selling food containers in 2021. we can also be successful as well. As far as our competition goes, there aren't that many competitors in the biomarket industry as it is still expanding. You can read the names of the competitors on screen. However, we do hold a competitive advantage. We have over 20 patents, whereas they usually, most of them have just one. We have immediate scalability as far as the products that we launch into the Las Vegas market. And most importantly, our products are 100% compostable and 100% biodegradable, where they would say and claim that they're fully biodegradable, but they're not. Recently, there has been a few restrictions being placed in other states around the country, where South Carolina recently banned plastic straws from being used. We can offer a solution to this by mixing PLA with plant fiber to create straws that are good for the environment.
For our proof of concept, we have 21 bioresins and many certificates. For example, we got BPI, FDA, thermal. If you guys have ever had the experience of having an environmentally friendly straw that you put in a really hot beverage or cold, it bends out of shape. That's not going to be the case with ours. Compostable at home and biodegradable in 12 weeks. Most importantly, our concept is not just an idea. It has materialized. We're ready to go to market and scale almost immediately. On your hands, the judges, you have 2 bags. One of them is our resin, and the other one is from BioBag. BioBag is our direct competitor, and they are the biggest in the market right now. They have the most market share. One thing that you're going to notice is you're going to feel the higher quality in our product, and also it's thicker. On top of that, if you look at the printing, our bag is made, the ink that we use is plant-based, so it doesn't have toxins. On top of that, not only it's higher quality, but we will sell it at a cheaper cost. So it's lower price and higher quality than our competitor, the one with the biggest market share. We want to enter the market in the Las Vegas Strip because there is an immediate need right now for food scrap bags and for straws in the near future. Once we secure our first contracts in the Strip and obtain cash flow, we will open our first manufacturing center here in Las Vegas, which will do 2 things. Number 1, it'll lower our costs, and number 2, will generate jobs. We'll also be able to scale into other products, such as utensils and food containers. For revenue streams, we will get revenue by selling our bioresin and also by selling 100% compostable and fully biodegradable SUPs, like the ones you have in your hands. In order to have a successful biotech industry here in Las Vegas, we will need many people from many different areas to come together, many different fields. For example, engineers, manufacturers, policymakers, municipalities, NGOs, they will all collaborate and invest into having big picture solutions. It's expected that the bioeconomy will contribute $260 billion and create 1.1 million jobs by 2030. The University of Massachusetts Amherst has created a center to develop ocean-safe plastics, and it's expected to create 75 direct jobs and 232 indirect jobs within 2 years of its launch. We're seeing universities around this country pledge to sustainability efforts, and we think UNLV should as well. Our project is not just licensing, and it's not just exclusive rights, but it's also collaboration in research and development and investment in new patents and new resins. The timing is right. The hospitality industry is looking for solutions right now, and our excellent products offer these solutions. We're committed to work together with UNLV and have a positive impact on Southern Nevada in its economy and its environment. And for this, we ask for your help. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Question.
So besides some of these examples around where there's regulation pushing this, I'm curious like what the cost difference is that you've seen of your product with non-biodegradable single-use plastic bags.
Right. So a couple of days ago, I read on the I read online that New Jersey, it's one of the most strict states in the country when it comes to banning plastics. And they're passing a law, when you go to the grocery store, you're not going to be able to have bags or shopping bags or anything. I believe they're keeping produce bags, but they're going to go away in the near future. South Carolina is another example. California, they make you buy the different bags. They're not plastic, and they're a little weird, and no one likes them, but it is what it is. And our country's heading, with regulations, it's heading in this direction. Companies at the Strip, they have sustainability initiatives, and they also have economic incentives to start pushing these type of products. 0.02% of plastics in the world are bioplastics. The industry is still very small, and the timing is right because there's a need right there in the Strip, and if we get in early, we can be a giant. We have the capability, and we would really like to have UNLV's backing so that we can make this happen.
Which products that are in use on the Strip would you propose to replace?
Once they're in the Strip?
Yes.
So the effect is twofold, because the companies in the Strip, such as NGM and Caesars, yes, they have properties here, and yes, we would make an impact here in Nevada, but they also have other properties throughout the world and around the country. If it's successful here, chances are that they will implement the same products elsewhere. On top of that, once we get our manufacturing going, we have cash flow. The great thing about this is that we can scale immediately and to a vast amount of products. Everything that is single-use plastics can basically be made out of this resin, which would really, really, really decrease the impact that plastic is having on the environment. So for example, water bottles, utensils, plastic bags, food containers, everything single-use plastic.
One more. Do you have an exclusive relationship with companies like Uni or Repurpose? And also, what is your revenue model with regard to these partnerships?
Yes. So one of our mentors, Tiffany Huang, has a direct connection with our producers, which are located in China right now. And Uni and Repurpose, they're brand partners. So they don't really produce the products. They just take care of the marketing, and then they put their label on it. But it's actually a product, and we want to take things in our hands. And for revenue, we want to sell the bioresin, like we explained, and we also want to get revenue from each product that we sell. Bags, utensils, etc.
Very good. Mr. Guzman has offered to be your first investor already, so we have one in here. Thank you. Join me in congratulating.
Congrats.
They were turned off at branding.
So next we have Team 9, Rebel 4, Nothing About Us Without Us.
Here we go. All right, hello everybody. I bought nice shoes for this event and wound up standing behind the podium. My name is Salvador, and I'm on stage with Orestes, Brianna, and Michelle, and we are Rebel 4. I want to start this discussion with a question for you all, a request. Please raise your hand if you know somebody who was laid off because of the COVID-19 pandemic or the Great Recession. And look around the room. Chances are, if you live in Las Vegas, you know somebody who was affected. My group spoke about this at length when we first joined this team, and we asked ourselves, how many more of these once-in-a-lifetime economic disasters are we going to face? We had to find a way to improve the economic resilience of our city. We defined the problem as twofold, affecting both small business owners and retail investors. Many small business owners struggle to raise the funds they need to scale their businesses, and this is particularly true for minority owners, people of color. We want to diversify the economy not just in terms of the types of businesses operating here, but also in terms of the demographics of the operators themselves. To do this, we have to help previously marginalized small business owners raise the funding they need. Now, the other issue is the retail investor. They're facing unique challenges of their own right now with increasing inflation, 7% year over year right now. They're being pressured to take on higher risk for better returns just to break even on their investments. Additionally, we look at everyday people who are now rallying against corporate greed, rallying against Wall Street by shopping small and shopping local. We believe that the solution to both of these problems is the same. We need to help people, we need to empower them to move beyond shopping local and to move to investing local. Rusty, tell them about our solution.
We've identified a solution that is a unique marketplace that connects these community investors with the local businesses that need funding to scale. So we call it Invest Local, a digital age social investment platform that will allow everyday people, anybody in this room can invest in an idea that has gone through this stage today. That is what our idea is all about. We want to enable local businesses to get the funding they need to be successful. So the community investors will be able to transact directly with the local business owners. The small businesses will undergo due diligence before being listed on our platform, a digital platform that will be on mobile and desktop based on their funding they need, the location that they're at, hopefully here in Las Vegas, and that's how we want to keep it, and based on the potential impact to the community. This is not charity. We want to make that clear. This is a transaction where both parties take on risk. And through that risk, there's the opportunity for returns. Invest Local is about connecting and empowering these entrepreneurs. To build this marketplace, we're establishing an SEC and FINRA-regulated funding portal that will enable these transactions using smart contract technology. This is so exciting, but really nerve-wracking. Thank you for bearing with me. Okay. Currently, there are 75 of these registered funding portals, including Mainvest, OurCrowd, and Republic as our top competitors. However, we are the first to innovate a tokenized convertible note product that uses this aforementioned smart contract technology to enable the localized transactions. Okay? This is groundbreaking technology. Even with the advancements needed in this to make this happen, the transactions will happen faster, more secure, and still cheaper than these top competitors we've mentioned. Let's go over an example really quickly. Let's say that a local cardiologist needs funding to hire another specialist. With Invest Local as an option, they can list their business with us and obtain the funding needed through a convertible note. The community investors benefit through a 7% return and the opportunity to convert their note into a share. The medical practice can now better serve their patients and profit from the additional human capital. And Invest Local benefits from the initial offering as well as ongoing regulatory compliance solutions. Even more exciting is the progress we've made with our proof of concepts and opportunities we've identified for scaling.
Our mantra is nothing about us without us, which reflects our need to fully engage our community. Our first step was to utilize our connections to gain insight about our community's interests. We have created a customer discovery survey, as you see to the right, so that the community can have input in a product that they found critical need for. Requirements to participate in Invest Local are as follows. 1, owning and operating a business within Nevada. 2, having a revenue of less than $1 million. And 3, working with an advisor with the Nevada Small Business Development Center to learn more about financial sustainability. And 4, having a satisfactory business evaluation done by in-house analysts. We have received advice from Nevada Securities Division, securities lawyers, as well as blockchain developers that confirm Invest Local to be legally and technologically feasible. Next slide. So our initial goal is to grow our platform here in Las Vegas. So using the U.S. Business Database, a government database with businesses registered across the state, we found roughly 46,000 businesses that fit our eligibility criteria. We'd like to focus on the 7 top most common business industries that make up 14,000 of those 14,000 of the 46,000 businesses. And those common industries include healthcare clinics, restaurants, and real estate offices. If we are able to onboard 0.5% of those businesses, we'll reach 700 businesses. And we won't stop there. Mature growth strategies, mature growth strategies include production of creative content, as well as ongoing compliance services with an additional fee. In short, we're preparing for the long and prosperous journey of Invest Local. And to Michelle with our closing.
As we envision the future, we are noticing a new energy emerging in town. We've witnessed it at Blackfire Innovation and at Tech Alley events and pitch nights at Startup Vegas. Additionally, this challenge is a testament to the growing entrepreneurial spirit that's transforming Southern Nevada. Overall, our mission is to diversify the Las Vegas economy by diversifying the entrepreneurs and the participants and investors that participate in it. Our surveys thus far have shown that most businesses receive funding from friends, family, or angel investors. Thus, there's a gap between those businesses funded by personal connections and those businesses funded by banks, which we aim to fill. Our goal here today is to extend the invitation in joining us to developing this social investment platform, as our efforts do not end here on this stage. This is our purpose. This is more than a desire. This is a duty born from the shared value of community first that bonds Rebel 4's commitment to the fruition of this project. By supporting us moving forward, Invest Local can stand up for purpose-driven impact investments, diversity and economic opportunities, transparency in community investing, sustainability in creating other job markets, the autonomy to choose to invest in an idea that you believe in, and empowering entrepreneurs to model these same values for the next generation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Quick question. Have you given any thought to the use of your product here for fraudulent purposes? And if so, how are you going to combat that fraud?
We've given that a lot of thought, and that's where we bring up the fact that they have to go through a due diligence process before they can be onboarded. So we're not open to everybody. We're open to a select number of industries in which we'll have expertise. That's why we're focusing on those top 7, because we understand the metrics for success in different industries vary widely. So we want to focus on these. Our analysts will understand what makes these businesses successful, and they will then go through that due diligence process just to make sure that they are the right candidate to be onboarded on the platform.
Hey guys, have you, so I assume you're going to use Reg CF and the crowdfunding regulations from a SEC standpoint. Okay, then I guess if you know, it's interesting that you guys could use Ethereum or, put it on a smart contract, but I'm a big advocate for don't use blockchain when it's unnecessary, right? If it works in a database, use a database, it's more efficient. Have you guys considered walking away from that as a strategy? And then also, from a TAM perspective, a total market you guys could address. Obviously, you could do this across everywhere and very quickly flank those other crowdfunding sites with a focus. You may not need a technological innovation. A lot of times companies just tactically can position themselves and gain market share. Have you started thinking about your pitch getting a little less away from the technology and more just into the tactical, unique value proposition that you offer?
I could definitely speak to that. So we want to begin with the database. The way it works right now, compete directly with these markets. Our marketing that is an invest local. You're investing directly into your community is really the selling point. But we want to use all the validated learning from this experience that we're providing for our users and build that into the Web3, the future. We want Las Vegas to be the center for not just crypto, but the potential that blockchain allows for decentralized finance and providing opportunities. I mean, we want to scale it just from Las Vegas, then nationally, eventually all over the world.
Okay, so your target market or serviceable obtainable market is about like $14,000 a year for Las Vegas. Is that?
Those were the number of businesses that we're targeting. Yes.
So I suppose this is going to be like more like a beachhead market, and with the tokens, Bitcoin, etc., that might excite the younger entrepreneurs. So what's your plan to expand into other areas, other locations to scale up?
I think our concern so far has been the focus in Las Vegas. because with the founders that we have here, we all have ties to Las Vegas. We're all going to stay here after graduation. And so that's been the focus at the moment. But we understand that as we continue to expand, we don't need to bring in people with learning from their locations. So this is something that could easily be scaled to any city if we didn't give much thought to it being local. But we think where it's going to be key, it's going to be partnering with local businesses, partnering with local change makers in their cities to tell us what exactly we need to do to differentiate ourselves in each respective city.
Please join me in congratulating Rebel 4.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job. Watch your step. Watch your step. Next, Team 15, which is ReFuel, striving to reuse plastics instead of burying them in landfills where they have lost value and the subsequent destructive impacts on the environment.
Hi, we're Team ReFuel. I'm Christine. This is Angie. This is Garrett. And although that we are a diverse group, we still have much that we can learn. So we can use advice for our innovation by taking advice from entrepreneurship and commercial development real estate. Also, we would benefit if we can have some help and team members who have background in law, public relation, and engineering in the engineering department. So I have been a recycler for years. I try to do my best, right? But as Alejandro told us, and the EPA tells us, only 8% of disposable plastics are recycled in the United States annually. So what happens to the rest? Well, for a long time, it would just get shipped overseas. And our largest trash plastic taker, China, closed its doors to us 2 years ago. So now, a lot of that comes here. So let me just bring girth to this matter, okay? So according to the Census Bureau, the US annually shipped about 157,000 20-foot shipping containers of plastic. That's equivalent to about 5 of those massive cargo ships that you see on the seas that we would ship out of the United States. And now they are filling our landfills and they're polluting our land. And so that is our problem. We do not have a viable, adopted, widely renewable solution to get rid of the plastics. So I'm going to turn it over to Garrett, who's going to talk about an innovative solution.
Okay. The image is a drawing rendering of a facility that could be located outside. Thank you. So the drawing is a rendering of an image of what could be a facility that utilizes technology that's about a decade old, and it's called pyrolysis. And obviously on the left, those are kind of some areas that could be within the facility. But I'll say this. This is to make tangible products. For every 1 metric ton of plastics, we can yield 330 gallons of fuel. This is just a simple image of what the inside facility will have for the processing. It'll have reactors, it will have main computer terminals. But this technology is well documented. There's Journal of Pyrolysis Institute. There are a number of other leading journals that have researched extensively this technology called pyrolysis. This is where we're at right now, the top box. The waste plastics, they basically get bundled and they go to either get incinerated, they go to landfills, or they get simply shipped overseas. What we suggest is the bottom box, which is to essentially intercept plastics and basically provide a home. What we also like to present to the pyrolysis community is more innovative raw materials sources, such as used road tires, large-sized plastics, and styrofoams. So pyrolysis happens overseas, and it's actually quite successful. And they use basically premium plastics, such as used water bottles. And so that's where we think that we could also innovate, which is to have different raw material sources. And finally, for me, the scalability aspect is that there are contractors, construction companies, that have templates for the inside of the facility to build the pyrolysis refineries themselves, from the reactors all the way through the main computer terminal equipment. And therefore, the help is out there. And so we just try to see if we can seek the help to be able to provide a home for plastics. And we're talking about maybe 24 tons of plastics or more a day. And so that's a pretty large amount if you think about it.
Thanks, Garrett. So now I'm going to talk about everyone's favorite topic, money. All right. So according to an economic analysis of a similar 10-year pyrolysis project, the projected capital cost for this type of facility will be around $8.1 million. And although that may sound like a lot right now, this amount can vary depending on the size of the facility and the types of reactors we choose to include in the facility. The good news is, once funding is secured, the internal rate of return is estimated about 26.3%, with most of our revenue coming from the sale of oil. We expect to break even after only 2 years of operation. So this figure just shows some of the yields that can come out of the pyrolysis process. We have oil, gas, and char. As you can see at the bottom, the oil yield, according to this, is 77%. So that's really what we want that number to go up, and that can increase depending on the type of reactors we use in the facility and so on, so we can make higher revenue. Okay. And additionally, this project will serve the purpose of diversifying the Southern Nevada economy by providing hundreds of new jobs. By introducing this industry to Las Vegas, we'll be able to employ an entirely new workforce of engineers to design and build the facility, truck drivers to transport and sort materials, and also tanker truck drivers to transport our oil products to our customers, among many others. And now I'll hand it over to Christine.
This innovation has many benefits. First, as previously stated, we're going to be recycling the plastic, so it'll decrease the microplastics in the air that will make us better health-wise. Second, she mentioned it, the jobs. We can create hundreds of jobs with one facility. Third, we're going to actually be making our own alternative fuels, which means that we don't have to depend on foreign producers anymore. Finally, we're going to actually be recycling plastic for a purpose. Now, this challenge was created because of COVID-19's effect on our economy, because we are highly heavy on our gaming and our tourism and our hospitality, which is great. However, the Cambridge Dictionary, and just for clarity, defines innovation as a new idea or the use of new ideas or methods. This innovation will provide economic diversity in Las Vegas. And future resources and future plants that we can open in Nevada may be able to scale up so we can service the western states. And there is future licensing opportunity. Finally, this project has been vetted and proven with an estimated ROI of 25% and a break even at before year 3. This project is ready. ReFuel is ready. We're so ready that we would apply this money to help jumpstart this project. It's still plastic. Wouldn't it be innovative if we can change that?
Thank you.
So I'm going to assume that the average person is not an engineer like myself and is going to hear the word reactor and think nuclear, right?
Back to the future?
It's going to think something nuclear or something more than maybe what it is. So, how are you going to deal with explaining the safety of a facility? And B, because you used the word reactor, it sounds complicated from a regulation standpoint. And so what is the timing of opening up a facility?
I think a facility like this could open up in less than 18 months. From the safety aspect, we would have to have proper management and then obviously proper safety procedures in place. I think that the location, once it gets established, it's going to be more turnkey than the opposite. And so those challenges, I don't really think that are impediments. I think once the facility gets built, then we just progressively take steps to open it up, and then we have a guaranteed product at the end. We have fuels.
Yeah, my question relates to your last bullet point. So the plastic that's going to stay in the landfill and mess up our earth, but you are pyrolyzing it and then emitting stuff into the atmosphere, number one, and then you're creating fuel, which you will be burning and sending it into the atmosphere. So it looks to me, whether it's on the earth or it's in the atmosphere, it's going to be bad news.
I think that the facility won't have that type of impact. I don't think it's going to pollute the environment, like you say, because I know that other pyrolysis facilities that are in overseas, they capture their
emissions. But what about the fuel? The fuel you're creating, you're going to burn it, right? You're going to burn it and send it back into the atmosphere.
No, actually, the word pyrolysis is absence of oxygen, and there's no burning of fuel, no incineration occurs whatsoever. When the feedstock is loaded into the reactor chamber, after it's all full, there's like some gases that are injected into the chamber, I think like carbon monoxide, and it pulls out all the oxygen. All the oxygen is gone inside the chamber. Then it's heated even more than what it is. Then the polymer bonds of the plastics are broken, and then they rise as gases. And then they go down a series of pipes that condense, and then they become fuel liquids, separated liquids. And so then, depending on certain spots within that process, you have diesel, gasoline that is produced, kerosene that is produced, and then you have like a carbonaceous char that is also sold as an oil product as well.
I'm talking about those hydrocarbon fuels that you're talking about that's coming out of the unit. That is going to be burned, and that's going to release carbon dioxide.
Oh, so you mean like the fuel products that we are producing and then going and selling, which we're going to try to sell them to oil companies, we're not going to regular customers. Of course, those are going to go into the vehicle. Oh, one thing I can say is that they have a lot less carbon. And so these fuels that are burned, they have a lot less, they're a lot more efficient. They burn a lot cleaner. And so, and they're just going to be fuels, and we're already fueling our cars.
One more round of applause, please.
All right, next team is Team 3, Hyperloop, Nevada, driving a new mode of transport.
Let me ask you, what comes to your mind when you think of driving on Spaghetti Bowl or any I-15 in Vegas? Traffic congestion is one thing that you are concerned about, and only thing that causes headache. So, however, to answer this question and the problem, we came up with an innovative solution. Hi, I'm Meena Ijada, and we are Hyperloop Nevada, the team. We are blessed to have a team of great people who are committed to the change of the vision of revolutionary transportation in Vegas. Currently, our team is comprised of 3 advisors who are from the industry, 3 undergrads and 1 grad student who also as contributors in various disciplines. Even having a people of 7 people who is delivering at high standard rates, we are trying to promote, interact, network and secure partnership opportunities with companies who see a strong potential in our project, even including the likes of the Boring Company, Virgin Hyperloop, and UNLV. Having said that, Peter will take over.
Awesome, thanks Meena. Hello everybody. So I'm sure I can speak on behalf of most, if not everybody in this room, that there has been a time where we've been driving on the I-15 on a busy day and all of a sudden we get stuck in traffic, whether we're going to work, we're going to home. You know, we're sitting there and we're super stressed out, like why haven't we already found a solution to traffic congestion? It's been such a long time since cars have been a thing, and unfortunately this has been a prevailing trend since cars first came about in the 20th century. Luckily, Hyperloop Nevada will be taking charge in making traffic a thing of the past. And with that, I would like to go ahead and unveil to you all LV1. Awesome. So this is the world's first zero-emission and cost-effective autonomous transportation solution that is specifically designed to be integrated with the Boring Company's infrastructure, where they are creating the ever-growing underground tunnel system here in Las Vegas. Doing so will be able to create job opportunities and bring in more locals into the valley to help push for this type of development, as well as reducing travel costs by minimizing that and enabling access to really anybody who wants to use the system as they move forward. For the proof of concept, the design has been baselined on 2 key driving requirements. Number 1, simplicity in its design for intuitive use, as well as safety. Being able to incorporate these design elements have allowed us to develop an innovative solution to our propulsion system, as well as our air compressor system, which will ultimately benefit the system as a whole and make it a more efficient system as well. And yeah, so with that, I would like to pass it on to Drake as he will introduce to y'all the tunnel boring machine of the future.
Now, to build the Hyperloop system itself, we need tunnel boring machines to dig these tunnels in the first place. But the problem with tunnel boring machines is that they are extremely slow, way slower than snails even, and they cost tens of millions of dollars per mile to dig. And companies have tried to solve this problem for decades by optimizing the cutter head geometries, the materials, and the propulsion systems. However, they have overlooked a very crucial concept, the arrangement of the TBM itself. And we are creating an array of miniature TBMs, like this prototype right here, in a circular cluster with multiple of them. And by doing this, we can accelerate the rate of tunneling, we can decrease the overall system costs, and we are opening up a completely new way of creating underground infrastructure as a whole, and this goes far beyond Hyperloop itself. Now, we must see why this is an urgent problem to solve.
As you know, Las Vegas is one of the fastest growing cities in the United States. According to the Center of Business and Economic Research, as of 2020, Las Vegas's population is 2.3 million. By 2040, 2.9 million. And by 2060, 3.2 million. Our current infrastructure is not enough. So due to traffic and the disrepair of our roads, the average Las Vegas driver loses 17 hours and $1,744 annually. So the government is stealing my money. Okay. At our current rate, Las Vegas will see more congestion and we'll see more disrepair of our roads. That means more time lost, more money burnt. Fret not, there is a solution, that is Hyperloop. Projected by 2026, the global market will be $9 billion. However, multiple global cities around the world are booming, such as Shanghai, New Delhi, and Chicago. All these cities need transportation. They need reliable and sustainable transportation. they need Hyperloop. And Hyperloop needs TBMs. As such, established Hyperloop companies and underground infrastructure industries will be our market. So as all businesses know, they have competition. Directly, we face the light rail, monorail, high-speed rail, and buses. Indirectly, we face ride-sharing apps. Sorry, I'm nervous. Okay. Ride-sharing apps, Uber, and autonomous vehicles. Like competition itself, all companies face regulatory and legal concepts. So for us, we face it at the local, state, and federal level. More specifically, on the federal level, we face it with the EPA and the Department of Transportation for safety regulations. But these legal and regulatory obstacles have not deterred transportation companies. Companies such as the Virgin Hyperloop and the Boring Company that have entered Las Vegas, the first of many to come into this area. And this is TBM right here. It will lay the foundation for a flourishing underground infrastructure industry. Now, the goal of our company is to nurture the soil to make Las Vegas a more attractive location for a new key driving industry, transportation innovation. For us, transportation innovation requires specialized training in designing, manufacturing, integrating, and business development of TBMs and Hyperloops. Investing in and attracting businesses help acquire and develop more talent to secure the key industry. Of course, key industries themselves need supporting industries. More legal, more financial, more research, more business services, more education, more construction, more food will be needed. These needs themselves replicate jobs. They need jobs. And I said earlier, Las Vegas is not the only growing city with transportation needs. Oh, shit. Excuse that comment. So by investing now, we're setting the future. By investing now, we're giving Las Vegas a head start towards this innovation cluster. And by that, we can translate this head start to a more global, definitive, competitive edge for Las Vegas itself. And with that, I'll pass it off to Peter.
Awesome, thank you. So going into our schedule and our budget, with $90,000, this is enough for us to complete our testing operations by the just after second quarter of this year. And by the end of this year, we'll be finalizing our facilities operations so that by the time 2023 comes around, we'll be fully ready to integrate our technology into infrastructure to immediately make our technology accessible for our transportation services. Awesome, and with that, I would quickly like to say that tonight we have unveiled an idea that quite literally changes the world in the most literal sense possible. And by no means is this any small project, which means that there's a lot of challenges that we will have to face in order to be successful. However, with that in mind, the entire team is 110% on board with this, and we are ready to take the next steps to make this future a reality. And with that, I would like to thank y'all.
So I don't know if you've thought about this or not, and I would caution you to start thinking about it. Because of this technology underground, real estate transactions are going to start now going from above ground to below ground because people are going to find out that they have rights. And one of my friends recently told the Boring Company they can't build their tunnel underneath there without paying them for that real estate. And so I just would say to you, start adding that into your formula because real estate is going to go underground.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Usually I would just say, just dig deeper. But yeah, you know, that's a pretty good point.
Okay.
Yeah. Just dig deeper. I'm sure we can definitely work with the folks on that.
As someone who had to take multiple digging permits when I worked in the lab, I would caution you not to dig deeper. However, I have a really simple question. Why this instead of like a massive mode of public transportation underground? Why would this be better?
Yeah, sure, definitely. So obviously there are many different types of modes of transportation out there, everything from public transit with buses, you have airplanes, you have boats. The reason why Hyperloop is such an attractive option since Elon Musk put this out on his white paper about 10 years ago is the fact that it is a point-to-point solution for transportation. And essentially what that means is in a typical subway system, you have to stop at every single stop, and that might cause inefficiencies and delays in somebody's schedule. Let's say that, speaking for personal experience, I actually used to use a bus a couple of years ago. If I want to go from Henderson to Summerlin, the bus ride would literally take 2 hours, as opposed to with Hyperloop technology, it takes you directly to your destination in a cost-effective and even time-efficient manner. And on top of that, I would also like to add that this type of technology is scalable, not just within intra-city transport, but this can also be extended to other cities as well, connecting them in order to create those networks. So think traveling from Los Angeles to San Francisco in 20 minutes or less.
It seems like you're trying to compete in two different products that are actually fairly different. Isn't that a lot to bite off for a young group of aspiring professionals?
I don't think so. I think we're totally capable of doing that. And like on a serious note, just speaking on behalf of pretty much the entire team here with me, we have already, before even graduating from undergrad, we've been able to accumulate quite a bit of professional industry experience that we're currently taking into account when we're actually creating this design, right? And I think as we gain more business development experience as well as technical development experience, I think that's going to only take us farther, especially with the ambitions that we have where we want to change the world.
Thank you so much. Well done.
Congratulations.
Microphones are here.
You can leave the table.
Leave the table. Yes. And finally, T10 Esenjays for the greater good.
Ready to go? Welcome. We are Team Esenjays, and our mantra is for the greater good. Our mission is to bring meaningful change to Southern Nevada's economy. Today, we are excited to unveil a new product that will not only diversify Southern Nevada's economy, but will also introduce some much-needed nutrients and fresh greens to our desert population.
Malnutrition is a big problem. Deficiency micronutrients increases rates of many diseases like obesity, diabetes, and even life-threatening diseases like cancer. 463 million adults around the world suffer from type 2 diabetes. And the world prevalence of obesity nearly tripled since 1975. And diet is primarily to be blamed. Lack of access to fresh fruits and vegetables and lack of education on healthy eating habits is aggravating the problem. The direct economic cost of only disease-associated malnutrition here in Nevada is $136 million every year. And the total economic burden of malnutrition only in the United States is over $157 billion every year.
To fight malnutrition, we want people to have easier access to healthy eating choices. So we designed a fully automated growing unit called Paya. Now, Paya self-waters, self-lights, and can grow microgreens in 10 to 11 days. Paya is stackable, energy efficient, indoors, vertical farming solution. Now, with Paya, individuals can grow and consume fresh microgreens with zero gardening skills. That allows them access to cheaper microgreens year-round. for restaurants, they will have a freshness, availability, and cost savings advantage it's because they won't be limited by their suppliers, and they can grow any type of microgreen. Additionally, the displays of microgreens in Paya in front of all their customers is free marketing. Paya will add nutritional value to school lunch programs and provide learning opportunities regarding planting, healthy eating habits, sustainability, and automation. For high-end grocery stores like Whole Foods, they can grow and sell microgreens at peak freshness, right? It's kind of their mission statement. Additionally, growing in-house in the grocery stores will reduce logistical costs. Now, the market size for our envisioned segments provides us with over 1 million potential customers.
So now comparing to existing products, Paya is a fully automated growing unit that can grow any type of microgreen. It is competitively priced, and it's the only product that is stackable. As far as regulatory concerns go, we plan to work closely with the Southern Nevada Health District and the Nevada Department of Agriculture to help restaurants to make sure that they get the necessary licensing so that they can grow and serve microgreens. We'll also consult with the health department to make sure that our microgreens are safe to eat. We also plan to file for patent and trademark on Paya.
Our minimal viable product consisted of a composite tray system, automated lighting and watering systems, and an always-on ventilation system to prevent the growth of mold. It also does not require any type of pesticide or fertilizer. In order for our proof of concept, we grew broccoli microgreens. We were able to successfully grow 3 batches of microgreens, and they roughly took an 8-day growth cycle.
So the yield of a full tray of broccoli microgreen was 150 grams. It only cost us $4.65 to grow them. And typically, you would pay at least $12 in retail to get the same amount. Now, what's amazing is the electricity and water only cost us 26 cents. And we only use 11 cups of water, and that's 94% less water used than the traditional farming methods. Now, this is because the automated and the precise watering schedule allows Paya to minimize water usage. Now, additionally, after harvest, the leftover cocoa coir and the plant matter are compostable. And since we do not use any pesticides, the entire process is organic.
Future designs of Paya will have a humidity monitor as well as an application to control our automated features. It will also feature the ability for consumers eating the microgreens to track their microgreens from seed to plate using blockchain technology. Our initial go-to-market strategy will be to sell Paya to local restaurants here in Las Vegas. We actually already have a local restaurant, Island Malaysian Cuisine, that's expressed interest in using Paya to grow microgreens and serve them to their customers. We also plan to have a website that consumers can order directly from us in order to start growing microgreens in their own kitchen. The growth opportunity for Paya is honestly tremendous, with microgreens alone projecting to grow at 11.1% a year and our customer base growing with it. We also hope to utilize the the Small Business Innovation Research Fund in order to fund a design and engineering team for our final prototype, as well as the Governor's Office of Economic Development STEP grant in order to fund our global and national expansion.
Our business based here in Las Vegas is going to diversify Southern Nevada economy immediately by creating jobs in R&D, data science, and high-tech design and engineering. And once we have our manufacturing facility here in Las Vegas, we'll be providing extensive upstream manufacturing, midstream transport to the global business, and downstream distribution, along other functions needed to support these divisions. And we also want to give back to the Las Vegas community. So we have a nonprofit segment. We'll provide Paya to Title I schools and CCSD at no cost. And to get this started right away, we're going to apply for funds, federal and state funds. And once our project is profitable, we're going to allocate 10% revenue from the restaurant segment to schools.
In conclusion, people need to be more health conscious. Studies have found that 25% of our health is dictated by genetics only, and 75% is dictated by diet and exercise. Our solution delivers a turnkey solution for the end user to grow microgreens in a sustainable and low-cost method. And here's a little short time lapse that we took for you guys, and we actually invite you to sample some broccoli, starting from radish, peas, and broccoli microgreens. Thank you.
I think the marketing aspect of it is phenomenal. If you put that in a restaurant, naturally people feel healthier and so on and so forth. I think the bigger concern, have you guys thought about the real estate this just would take up, right? If you're at a strip restaurant, that's pretty premium real estate, and if they put 50 of these as opposed to 10 tables, the economics make it out of whack, right? I guess, what is the immediate target market? Is it going after restaurants with the marketing angle, or is it going after the true produce angle of the business?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm fortunate enough to be the member of the group that's actually in the restaurant industry. So the first concern I raised was like, space is an absolute premium, right? We definitely are in a unique market in Vegas with a plethora of high-end restaurants. And one of the suggestions that we kind of thought of is the same of going into a high-end seafood restaurant where you might see tanks of fresh seafood. We see this as almost a marketing tool for them as well to say, you know, we have the freshest produce. At the moment, you know, it is microgreens, but you know, growing into other available stuff, we see that as kind of the same idea of being able to a consumer to be able to come in and see what they're eating right there. So for the normal market, where, you know, again, space is at premium, we kind of have to navigate that a bit. That's why we made it stackable. It's the only one on the market that they can stack up, so we kind of minimize how much space they need horizontally. But also we see it as something that they can put almost in the space of where the guests are, so they can see it as a sales tool.
And I'll add one thing real quick. So we definitely thought about it, and in our written submission, we calculated for a restaurant that serves 700 patrons a night, we think that they only need 10 boxes.
So as a consumer myself, I know I'm supposed to, I'm right here.
Oh, sorry.
I'm hiding. I know I'm supposed to eat my greens, but I love meat. So I think this really comes down to like education and awareness for mass consumer adoption. So how do you plan to kind of plant that seed, pardon the pun?
Jonathan, you want to take that? Our go-to-market is really we want to engage the restaurant first, and then have the restaurants grow, and the customers be able to see it, see the box, and then be able to sample it right away with other foods. And usually microgreens are used as garnish. You don't really eat like a whole plate of just microgreens. So we think that by just the current way of serving as a garnish could be an entry point for people to get used to what microgreens are. And interestingly, Island Malaysian cuisine, the chef was like, well, I could think of some way to make an entree out of this, but I think the entry point could just be a radish on top of like the existing salad that you can get used to it.
I can answer this question.
Yep, go ahead.
Is it working? Yeah. Do you like broccoli? I personally don't like broccoli.
The George H.W. Bush question.
I personally don't like broccoli, and I don't see my kids in the future eating broccoli, or maybe we're finding a way to make them love broccoli. You will taste broccoli right now, broccoli microgreens, and you'll see how fantastic it is compared to the real broccoli.
One more round of applause.
So while we are handing out the samples of the healthy greens, if the judges would complete your score sheets so we could tabulate the scores. And in the interim, please enjoy some beverages, enjoy some more food. We do have a photo booth right out on the balcony to my right. your left. A couple of closing remarks I think that would be appropriate before we get into our winners is you saw tonight some insight into our incredible student body here, how they think, the problems that they see, and how they approach them. They were innovative ideas, they were novel ideas, and there's some talented students who came up here and took the courage to stand here and tell you about how they're going to change the world. One more round of applause for everybody.
And real quickly, before you go grab food and a drink, Bo, did you know there's another big event happening today?
What's that event, Kate?
Same time, same place, so thanks for coming here. But the other event is called RebelsGive. How many of you have heard of RebelsGive? All right, thank you for that. RebelsGive is a really important event to our UNLV community. RebelsGive is a once-a-year event where we ask our friends and supporters on campus and off to make a small donation, or a large if you like, to support our students, the innovation that's happening on campus, and scholarships. So if you're interested in supporting RebelsGive and you haven't done so yet, there's a simple website you can go to between now and 6:40, and that website is rebelsgive.unlv.edu.
That's
rebelsgive.unlv.edu.
We're going to take about 5-10 minutes to tabulate. We'll be right back with the winners.
Thanks, everybody.
Oh, there's two mics around in person. Right.
Yeah, I do, you know, it always happens, doesn't it? Yeah, 2, right?
You guys got it when I saw
Good. Thank you, Jason.
Your attention, please. Your attention, please. We have a winner. Big round of applause once more for our jazz trio.
Thank you so much for being here. Yes. All right, so Bo and I know the winners. Bet you want to know too, huh? Before that, let's tell you a little bit about what these winners are going to get, because this is a surprise. So even our teams don't know what we're about to announce. So we have our President's Innovation Challenge Trophy. Obviously, this is the first year, but it's built to take a number of years' winners on the trophy. So this will become part of UNLV history starting tonight. So that's exciting, and I want to give a shout out to Claire Viduya, who is a graduate student in architecture, who designed all of the branding for this event, including the trophy. So thanks to Claire. So here's the big surprise. Instead of awarding prize money to only the winning team, we have been able to generate funds thanks to President Whitfield and the Office of the President and our friends at GoEd to support the top 3 teams. So the winners in the top 3 teams, the first prize winner, each of those students will get a $2,500 scholarship. Our second place winners each will get a $2,000 scholarship, and our third place team members will each get a $1,500 scholarship. On top of that, our winning team will get a $25,000 startup package. Our second place team will get a $15,000 startup package, and our third place team, $10,000 in startup. And they can use their startup for all of these kinds of activities. Pretty amazing, right? All right. So, Bo, do you want to spread the news and announce our winners?
Spread the love, yes.
Let's do it.
So I first shall announce the third place winner, Team 4, Aero AI. Please come on down. You want to do like a team photo, please? Come on down, come on down. Photographer Josh is here and he needs to take his pictures.
Sorry, Bo just sprang this on me right now. So.
Thank you. Another round of applause. In second place, Team 1, A More Sustainable World. Come on down. Congratulations. Great job.
Bo, before we announce the first place winners, can we ask President Whitfield to join us on stage?
Come on down, President Whitfield.
Down. He's
You've been
the
excited
man with
about
the
handing
check.
out this check.
Here you are.
The giant check.
The giant check. You got the check?
Joining President Whitfield up here on stage is our first place winner, Team 10 Esenjays.
Wow.
Looking right at me.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
And a big thank you to all of you for being here. Again, to our judges, our mentors, all of you who supported our teams as family, friends, faculty members who helped mentor, all of you, you made today possible. So thank you so much. And a big thank you to all the folks who run the Strip View Room for giving us the space, for setting it up, for providing our food and our drink. We are very grateful. So to the bartenders, the cooks, everybody, we appreciate you.
Thanks so much, everyone. And one more round of applause for all of our student groups. Outstanding, outstanding inaugural year of the President's Innovation Challenge.
Hear, hear.
Thanks, friends, and go Rebels.
Go Rebels and go Knights.